Hello and Allah upon the Baha'i greeting to all the people in the world. And of course this is 24th Christmas Eve, so Merry Christmas to all the Christians and all the people of the world as well. As you can see on my last video, the epilogue, I have finished the series, but I would appreciate people who are asking questions by of course listening to the speeches and talks, and they have legitimate questions. I would rather come and publicly respond to it. But I'm still on my promise to teach you some Persians in 2 or 3 videos and translate one of the heaviest work of Baha'u'llah. Tonight I'm going to answer the question of Mr. Darrick Evenson. I hope I'm spelling it correctly, pronouncing it correctly. Darrick is asking legitimate questions, and this is his exact email. Quote, "Dear Sir, you claim to be an elder. I would like to ask, did you appoint yourself? Did Baha'u'llah appoint you in a dream or vision? If not, how are you one of the elders? Thank you, Darrick Evenson." Darrick, is a good questions. I'm obliged to answer this. That falls in my jurisdictions. I have to answer any question I'm asked. But I have to tell you, my friend, that I did on the videos number 2 and 47 to 54 entire my life history as a Baha'i, and especially 55, I've explained this question because it has been the question of a lot of people before. I would have wanted to go into detail of this questions, how essentially somebody connects to God, and this course, that one takes there and whatnot. I'm not going to do it tonight because it involves to tell you the detail of my life history from the very childhood till now. But I'm still going to answer it in a different, way. If I answer these questions to you directly, that yes, I appoint myself as an elder, or Baha'u'llah appointed me, there's no way for you or anybody in the world to believe in it. After all, in the Baha'i faith, we don't believe, we recognize. And in order to recognize, as Kitab Aqdas says, we have to have reasons. People can dream that they are something and then they should not be convinced by that. I would personally have problem if myself I would dream that I am an elder. I would not go for it, to be honest with you, as it was the case with me. But somehow from the very childhood I knew something is about me, and others, they were telling that too. So the question is not then so much that I tell you how. The question would that be, how would I, as an individual person in this planet, to accept this kind of a comment and this kind of a claim? I've been asked this question by one of the, I believe, prominent Baha'is. This man was from the United States. And he told me that everything is fine about you, but then there are many other fine peoples as well. None of them claim that they're elder, but you do. So for me, in order to know that the claim is correct or not, I have to have some reasons for myself and for others, he mentioned to me. So, is Baha'u'llah said somewhere in a book, not in a dream, because my dream is not good for you. Is anywhere in the book that prophesies that you're coming, your name, where you're coming and all that? some infallible authorities have prophesied your coming? What is your reason? Like, how do we accept you? I told him briefly, which I've answered it before. As a Baha'i, you all know universal laws of justice is infallible and all the Baha'is have to comply with it. This is very clear, written by Baha'u'llah, by Abdul-Wahab, by Shah Effendi. Now, if somebody comes and correct this infallible universal laws of justice, then that fellow must be bigger, knowledge-wise, than universal laws of justice. Not the authority, though. The teachers could be greater than the students in a sense of knowledge, but at the end of the day, a teacher is a commoner and a student could be a prince. So if a prince has a teacher, the prince should listen to the teacher when he's teaching, but at the end of the day, the prince is bigger and higher. In this case, the prince is universal laws of justice. I'm just a teacher. That doesn't make me bigger than them. Never mind, them doesn't make me bigger than you even. But however, I have a message that has corrected universal laws of justice, because they believe there has to be 4 elders. It's all on my website, their letter to me. And they think that the universal laws of guardianship in Arabic is called Darul Wilayah, is gone, is changed, and there can't be one. I told them that no, this has to be there in the writing of the Shah Effendi and whatnot. So you can listen to those videos and find out. Of course, this gentleman was convinced. He never told me he's convinced, but he was taking a, long, silence about this. So let's answer these questions in a different way. We're living in 20th, 21st century now, and mankind in the area of science, they have really advanced themselves. They can't put up with this kind of notions of based on a feeling and this and that. You have to come up with some reasons. I have discovered that psychologically it is hard for people to just believe or accept somebody who's in front of them, eats like them, functions like them. He is becoming, somebody higher, an elder, a prophet, a messenger. This divinity of an individual man who is acting exactly like everybody else is very hard for people. Because it is how it is that when somebody says, I am an elder, or I am, connected to God, it seems that he's having a leash, he just wants to put around your neck and make you an obedient person to him, ask you to give him money, bend down in front of him. That's what Ayatollah and Pope and others are doing, This has been wrong all along, ever since Adam right to Baha'u'llah. The real, true messengers of God, they never, ever were seeking this kind of ways and accepting people to take them as higher and bigger. To bring you a very serious testimony to this fact, I'm going to tell you what Baha'u'llah, who is the divine majesty, the actual creator of the universe, whom we know as the body of Baha'u'llah, only a simple manifestation of that force, that power. And that the will of God which is manifested in earth and the body of Baha'u'llah, he is seriously the biggest that can ever be. See what he says. Then you know what others, where is the place of other people. It is in the 7 valleys, in the valley of knowledge, okay, which should be in the valley of understanding. This is what Baha'u'llah says, quote, "This servant regardeth himself as utterly lost and as nothing, even beside one of the beloved of God. How much less in the presence of his holy ones. Exalted be my Lord, the Supreme. Moreover, our aim is to recount the stages of the wayfarer journey. So, Baha'u'llah says, Darrick, to you, you believe in God, he says, I feel utter nothing compared to you. And he is the master of the universe. I cannot come in comparison any shape or form to him. But I like to call myself the bulldog of Baha'u'llah. I am the dog, okay? He's the shepherd, I'm the dog. When shepherd goes, sends the dog. If he is human, I cannot be human then. I am not in no way or shape, can even enter that abode. If he is saying that he's just utter nothing compared to people on the planet, I'm his dog. Where am I standing then? This is my claim. I have no claim but calling myself elder over anybody in the planet. So what the hell am I then? I'm just a mailman. I'm bringing you the mail. The message. If there is anybody important here, is you, that this message is for you. You are the recipient of the message. This message that I brought about the Universal House of Guardianship with the membership of 5 women in the world to be elected by the Baha'is, which were like a senate, to work with Universal House of Justice to create the real democracy of the faith of Baha'u'llah, is what's in the book. Nobody had seen it. It took a long time, 50 years passed, so Baha'u'llah said, okay, Abbas, come on, go do it. Is that because I'm better than you guys? Absolutely not. You are out of your mind if you think that way. I do not think for 1 second even. I do not want to take such responsibility even, to claim myself anything bigger than others. I'm not innocent. I am just a guy. Baha'u'llah, when he was alive, thousands times, he would select this guy, that guy, give them the letter to go give it to the people in Iran or other places. Badi, one of them that took the letter to the king of Iran. I'm just one of them. So if Baha'u'llah is dead, body-wise, his soul is alive. He's not dead. To me, he's literal. For you guys, you might think him, okay, Baha'u'llah is an ideology, God is an idea. For me, it's real, it's presence. Right here is listening tonight, right now, and I know it. It's not very strange that there could be being that has no body. Darrick, if you would have been given 15 billion years to live, maybe you would have evolved in some kind of a being that has no body. You would have been a spiritual being. Take God like that. When you're in timeless zone, that's what happens. He's alive, he's present. Watching very carefully too. Whatever things happens. But he does not use force. Everything is absolutely by choice when it comes to man. Because if anybody is given any privilege by him, then the meaning of the recompensation and whatever happens on the other side becomes questionable. People say, hey, why did you offer Abbas this or that or that? Baha'u'llah didn't offer Abbas anything. I'm just giving things to the people who can handle it. If Baha'u'llah wants to send a message to Napoleon, he probably use somebody who can speak French. So there could be a lot of people around there that they're greatest Baha'is of all, but there's one guy who's not maybe even good, but he speaks French. But Baha'u'llah gives it to him because he's relevant to the matter. Same as the hands of the cause of God. Verse 27, hands of the cause of God. That there are many Baha'is, in my judgment, way bigger than hands of the cause of God, but they never were called hands of the cause of God because only 27 were to be appointed. So that means the rest of the people are under them, or they're inferior. That is seriously wrong. Remember, when it comes to the true messengers, the true envoys of God, they are not bigger than human beings. Certainly, Baha'u'llah, even Jesus Christ says, I like you, like me, you become also sons of God. What it's trying to say is that my message is not superiority over you. It's that I want you to become like me. I'm lonely. I want to talk to somebody. And how am I going to talk to you unless you become like me? You see, matter, if it is like this flower, you cannot communicate with it. If it is like paper, you can't. If it is even like a dog, maybe you could a little bit. But if it's a human, you can communicate. God wants to communicate with us. He's alone. Through the spiritual realm, He's trying to make us to become spiritual enough so we can subscribe to Him. Just like a computer. Connection to that, like an internet connection. That's the end of the 7 valleys, if you want to know. If you can, subscribe. Connect yourself to God. So, my American friend, if there is somebody to be counted as higher, that would be in North America. Because it says, the North Americans are the inheritors of the conquerors on high. The baton is in your hand. Okay? This is why I care to talk to you. All right? Do not put yourself down by virtue of anything else around you. You are the person God is looking for. He is making me tonight to speak to you. So, I always wonder, you're more important than me. It must be you, because look, even God wants to serve you. He's hiring me to do it for you. I'm not your servant, but Baha'u'llah seems that wants to be in service to all of you. Who is particularly the one? You want to know who they are in the public? Who is the one? The one who understands the message. The one who receives it. The one who said, I caught it. That was the intention of Baha'u'llah. That person. Baha'u'llah wishes everyone to do, but those who do, you care to send an email and ask these questions, you deserve the answer. And I try to my best to answer. Remember, I'm a mailman. I'm not supposed to know the answer to all the questions. But I just brought this idea to you through these videos and whatnot. So, the reason then why I'm an elder is because I have brought a message that was already like a stereogram in the writing. But even hands of the cause of God did not see it. They couldn't. The time wasn't ripe there. You see? When a time comes, things ripens. I was there. God says, okay, still do it. If I can tell you a little bit of my life history, again, he's not trying to specify myself or specialize myself or tell you that I'm bigger than others. No. Why? Because whatever I tell you tonight about myself, I have seen bigger than myself already. In my lifetime. Yes. But 55 years old, I don't think there was one night that I slept, not thinking about Baha'i faith and Baha'u'llah and this or that. Why? Is because life was very transient to me. When I was a kid in Iran, I fell in love with an Armenian girl and I couldn't get her. Then I said, the religion says that Muslim, Christian. I said, then the whole country is wrong. I felt lonely. Nobody understands me there. Then I see my father as a devout Muslims. Very rough life he had. And others, they're all shunning the Americans or saying bad words about American, Western. When I'm reading the book of Jack London on Victor Hugo or John Steinbeck, and I don't see Americans like how they see them. I tell them, why do you think they are, why? Why do you think Americans are bad or Europeans are bad? I couldn't understand. When you don't, then you become lonely, isn't it? Because nobody understands you. When you become lonely, then you want to find out if somebody is like you. One day, one guy who lives right now in Kitchener, Ontario, we had a meeting. He gave me this writing of Baha'u'llah, which is written in poetry. I immediately fell in love with it. I said, this is my writing. Who is this man? Where is he? That was immediate connection. That's why I'm going to translate it for you guys. That in the poetry, when he says, listen to the father, when he says son, I felt he's talking to me, my son, father. He's my father. He has physically helped me more than my actual father. My actual father was like a tunnel. I just came through him. Baha'u'llah actually went to jail. 40 years for me to come here to the United States and to Canada to be with you. If he didn't go to jail, Americans would not become Baha'i. They would not sponsor me to come here. So, see, my connection to him is very literal, okay? You all have to feel that way, by the way. Trust me. You don't have a father. Your actual father is Baha'u'llah. He's used his own material to make you. These fathers and mothers, they are to be respected dearly, but we are really like a tunnel coming through them to add another piece so from us, like a tube going on. So then I started to teach Baha'i faith. Immediately my brother slapped my face, my family shunned me, I go to the outside to speak to people, they took me in jail, even at the time of Shah. And in the court, the man, he said that you're not allowed to teach Baha'i faith. I told him that, sir, I will teach Baha'i faith, and no force in the world, including the Shah of Iran, cannot stop me. I do not recognize your government to have the authority to speak to me. He was like, this man is out of his mind. He was a young boy. And he couldn't charge me. At the time of Shah of Iran, they couldn't charge a Baha'i for teaching Baha'i faith. So he was like, that he's crazy. I told him, I'm not crazy. You've been bribed to bring me here. I haven't done anything wrong. And he just chased me basically out of that court. But one thing, I have no fear. Fear does not associate with me, none. So I studied the faith of God. I had great many visions of Baha'u'llah. Many of them. Of Abdul-Baha, of the Bab. Very strange, you know, those things. And I'm telling tonight to all the people on the planet, everyone who wants to visit Baha'u'llah, I can tell you the procedures. Well, go meet him. If it didn't happen, then I'm lying. I'm no good then. I'm talking out of my head. Actually, Baha'u'llah is real. He's waiting to contact you. He will come in your vision. He will talk to you. But as long as you are paper, a material, it won't work. The same material, if it turns into a computer, then the connection can be made. Which is, to tell you that, you have to reorganize who you are, the purpose and the meaning of life. Is not a right word to use, but we are like shit machine. We eat food and we make shit. That's all we do. Is this the purpose of life? I would then suicide tomorrow. Because I'm not a shit maker. I'm a human being. I talk. I have feelings. for people. I suffer when I see them in Africa. They're starving. In China, they're suffering, have no freedom. In Iran and in the United States, when they're cheated by their biggest capitalist imperialist, the real treasonist, cheat Americans. I suffer because of that. When I go there and I see people don't have money, or in Canada, when people abuse their children, their wives, their workers, very hurtful to me. I don't know. I've just got the big picture. Me and you and others are one. If we get this point, we're going to save the planet and ourselves. If we don't, then we're not together. And if we're not together, then we can't exist. Like if my hand is one someplace and my leg is someplace else, then there is no human being left. Humanity comes only when we are becoming an understanding that we are a part of the whole. All of us together becomes human being. A big thing. That's big. That thing is 6,000-7,000 known years of civilizations, and much actually older than that. We have to be a part of that. That is the Son of God, you see, humanity. So we have to function within this humanity with each other. Get rid of these boundaries, These are all man-made. I don't know, there's a bunch of things I've said before. When I was 17 years old, I have these writings. It's on the internet. I wrote the same line of poetry when I read the writing of Baha'u'llah, which, when I've showed it to the other Muslims, they cannot believe a 17-year-old boy and an 18-year-old boy could write these things. It's impossible, they say. I sent it to one of the guys, Dr. Ali Tavangar. He's an outside reader of the Universal House of Justice in Georgia, 13 years ago. He told me, I am the return of Rumi, he said. Your writing, he says, that it's amazing. How could you have written it as a child, as a 15, 16? I told him, I don't know, I just connected to that Masnavi of Baha'u'llah. It just seems that it flowed into me, and I said these things. I can't lie to you, some of the things I've said, I didn't know what am I saying. Later on, we found out, oh my God, this is what it meant. I was, the future, reading the futures. Bob says, sometimes Holy Ghost comes in the tongue of the seers or spirituals or whoever, and they say things that they don't know what the meaning is. One of these guys' name is Hafez, the most famous of all the Iranian poet. He's in Shiraz, and he's like 3,000 kilometers to the north, a river between Iran and Russia, the river of Aras. And he says, hey, if you pass on the river of Aras, remember I said that. How would he know this river even exists? Some, 800 years ago. So, because Bob was on that, jail, it's right on the river of Aras. Even he mentions about not even a village, smaller than a village. It's, I don't know what that would be. In Iran, they call it a station. It's not a village, it's less than that. There's just 2 houses. Hafez even mentioned about that. It's called the Manzil of Salma, or Salmas. Manzil is just a station, that stop, the stop of Salma. Absolutely unknown to the geographic knowledge of all the people in Iran to know that that little place exists, but Hafez talks about it. I didn't know. Me, like that, maybe I said a few things. I came true anyways. A stranger of all is that my date of birth, 1335, is actually in the Daniel, where it says in 1335. And they ask Abdul-Baha, what is that? He says, and this is not lunar, he says. Everything is lunar, but this one is solar, he says, solar year. And future, we'll find out what it is. The fate of God, will grow. And so Baha'is, they say, well, 1335, by then it's 100 years, Abdul-Baha says, is past. That means 1335, so you have to go 1235, or English 1956, so 1856. But they're trying to connect it to the formation of universal laws of justice, which is 1963, but does not match with 1956. However you want to do it, it won't work. Why is that? Is because at 1956, 100 years was passed from the time that Baha'u'llah came from the mountain of Sulaymaniyah, where he actually officially quit to be the messenger of God. He came and changed his name to Darwish Muhammad and said, quit, call it quit. He didn't say even to Abdul-Baha where he's going. He just didn't want anybody to know. He really let go. But somehow comes back. The day he came back, it was not 1956, but it was 1856. From that day, when they resumed the Prophet, 100 years passed, that was the day I was born. But don't get baffled again. These kind of a statement, I was born this day or that day, is not bigger than this flower, the day that this flower was born. Trust me. God, who made everything, he would feel seriously insulted if you say this ant that walks on the earth is bigger than you. He says, I did not make you, Abbas, bigger than ant. I did not intend you or him, one of you is bigger than other one. I made them all. I'm the architects. I like them all. There was a purpose for all of these. So in my picture, you're not going to tell me that this point of picture is better than that point of picture, or this place should have not been there. All of it has to be there, including